From stories across the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nitya De Oliveira.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines.
A 5,000 rupee New Year allowance for low-income and Samurdhi families. The plantation labour commends the government for making a reality the 1,000 rupee daily wage. A presidential task force to follow up progress of the Gamasamaga Pilisandara program. The President sends a message of condolence to the Queen Elizabeth II on the demise of Prince Philip. The family-run Saturday program gets underway to create an active society.
Now, in your top story this evening, provision of a 5,000 rupee allowance for Samurdhi and low-income families on behalf of the new year will commence from next Monday. Now, the allowance is provided according to a request made by the government parliamentarians on the instructions of the Prime Minister. State Minister Shehan Semasinghe says that the program is being jointly implemented by the Presidential Task Force for Economic Revival of and Elimination of Poverty, headed by Basil Rajapaksa, and the Samurdhi Development Department. State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said that the people in the country have been continuously burdened by the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been decided to provide a 5,000 rupee allowance to Samurdhi recipients and low-income earners in the new year, according to the instructions of the President and the Prime Minister. The project is to be jointly conducted by the Presidential Task Force for Economic Revival and Elimination of Poverty and the Samurdhi Development Department. So far, nearly 2.8 family units have been roughly estimated to be eligible to receive the benefits. He also said that they hope to commence the provision of necessary facilities from tomorrow itself. The aim is to hand over the benefit prior to the new year. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that the Satasa and the cooperative outlets will remain open on the 12th and 13th of this month. The minister further said that they request private institutions to be open for business on these 2 days. Members of low-income families and Samurdhi recipients have expressed their gratitude to the government for providing them a 5,000 rupee allowance at a time when they are under torment due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The plantation labour have received the 1,000 rupee increased daily wage for the first time, which was proposed through a previous budget. The estate labour have expressed their gratitude to the government for increasing their daily salary. Well, plantation labourers have been demanding for this 1,000 rupee daily wage for several years. They were unable to live with the 750 rupee allowance they have been receiving. A salary increase had been falling on the deaf ears of the politicians who were in power. As a result, the plantation labour were compelled to engage in agitations to increase their salaries. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa during the previous presidential election campaign has promised to increase the daily wage of the plantation labour to 1,000 rupees. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that raising of the salary of the plantation labour was compulsory. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, after the presidential election, has presented a budget proposal to increase the daily wage of the plantation labourers to 1,000 rupees. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that he had proposed a 1,000 rupee salary increase for the plantation labour in January 2021. Meanwhile, discussions have been conducted between the Ministry of Labour and estate companies and trade unions regarding the issue. Several plantation companies have expressed their displeasure over the salary increase proposal. However, the government has remained in a strong stance to increase the daily wage to 1,000 rupees. It has been decided to increase the salary to 1,000 rupees upon a discussion conducted under the leadership of the Minister of Labour, Nimal Siripala de Silva. It was on the 5th of March this year that a special Gazette notification was released, increasing the daily wage to 1,000 rupees. State Minister Jeevan Thondaman has also expressed opinion over the provision of 1,000 rupee daily wage for the plantation labour. It was due to the efforts of the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa that the 1,000 rupee daily wage issue has become a reality. Therefore, they have expressed their thanks to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Minister Ramesh Patirana as well. Special thanks are also due to the Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva. The minister has joined hands with them to win their demand. There are preparations to conduct talks for the establishment of an alternative salary scheme in place of the daily wage scheme. In the interest of the economy of the country, the government always appears directly on behalf of the plantation labour in resolving their disputes.
Now, in the meantime, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has appointed a presidential task force to engage in a follow-up study of the Gama Samaga Pilisandara program. The task force has been named as Gama Samaga Pilisandara Rural Development Presidential Task Force. It will engage in fulfilling the targets anticipated by the government and also for the efficient and productive maintenance of the entire procedure. The task force, headed by Minister Namal Rajapaksa, is comprised of 15 MPs and ministers. State Ministers Nimal Lansa, Dilum Amunugama, Kanchana Vijayasekara, Sita Armbepola and Channa Jayasumana, as well as parliamentarians Kader Mastan, Kapila Tukorala, Sanjeev Edriman, Nipuna Ranavaka, Chamara Sampath Dasanayaka, Tiran Alads, Govinda Kumaratunga, Sivanesuthure Chandrakanthan, Chintaka Amal Mayadunna and Jayanta Veerasinghe. Presidential Additional Secretary Chandima Vikramasinghe is in charge of procurement of necessary information relating to rural development tasks of the Gama Samaga Pilisandara program and overall coordination. The main objective of the task force is to provide guidance on service requirements of all officials, including district secretaries, divisional secretaries, for the speedy implementation to resolve the disputes presented by the people. Another task entrusted upon the task force is to expedite provision of infrastructure facilities, including road networks, drinking water supply, telephone, playground, transfer of lands, banking and financial facilities based upon the budget allocations of the Pradesh Sabhas and Divisional Secretariat divisions. Another aim is to speed up implementation of all projects carried out through local and foreign funds under the State Investment Program. The President has also instructed the task force to report to him on any instances of any official neglecting or delaying to perform duties entrusted upon them by the task force.
Around 1 year has lapsed since the commencement of the Gama Samaga Pilisandara program. The main objective of the President is to identify the rural problems of the masses and to provide sustainable solutions. Permanent solutions have already been provided to many problems and shortcomings identified at the Gama Samaga Pilisandara programs. The best example in this connection is the Kanugahawava village in Kapatigolava. Well, the Kapatigolava village was selected for the implementation of the fourth stage of the Gama Samaga Pilisandara program on the 30th of December last year. The President has given a special pledge to the villagers on this day that their problems will be looked into and solutions provided. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that he has arrived at the village in connection with the 70th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Air Force. He also said that he has pledged on this occasion to build houses for the villagers. The President has also requested the villagers to inform the Air Force on any shortcomings in order to establish a model village. Development activities in the Kanugahawava village was commenced by the Sri Lanka Air Force even before 24 hours of the President making a statement in this regard. 70 houses are being constructed in the village in parallel to the 70th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Air Force. A sum of 1.5 billion rupees is being spent in this regard. The President has vested with the people 13 houses built under the first stage of the program on the 4th of this month. Many shortcomings in the Kanugahawava primary school have already been fulfilled and the benefits were handed over to the students. They included a new building of classrooms, a new playground, a smart classroom and teacher dormitory. A multi-purpose new building is also scheduled to be constructed at a cost of 90 million rupees. A sum of 6.4 million rupees being spent on several development projects in the Abhinavarama Viharasthane in Kanugahawava. People in Kanugahawava village were also being tormented by the elephant-human conflict. The Air Force taking measures to construct a 13-kilometer long electric fence as a remedy to the problem on the instructions of the President. The Air Force medical teams have also taken steps to engage in house-to-house visits and to conduct medical clinics. The second stage of the development program is presently being conducted under the full supervision of Air Force Commander Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana on the instructions of the President.
Now, in the meantime, construction of a two-storied library for the Hinguragoda campus of the Rajarata University commenced yesterday, fulfilling a request presented at the Gama Samagapili Sundar program held in Vadikache in Madirigiri. State Minister Roshan Ranasinghe presided over the event. Head of the Rajarata University informed the President on the need for a library for the Rajarata University in Hinguragoda at a recent Gama Samagapili Sundar program. Accordingly, a sum of 16.5 million rupees has been set aside for the program. The work is being undertaken by the 12th Engineering Service Corps of the Sri Lanka Army, scheduled to be completed within 120 days. Polonnaruwa District Development Committee Chairman Parliamentarian Amara Kirthi Athakorala and state officials were present. Meanwhile, a centre to purchase agricultural crops without poisonous substances was declared open yesterday in response to a request presented at the Gama Samagapili Sundar program held in Bokasvava in Vaunia recently. Minister S.M. Chandrasena presided over the event by purchasing harvest. The centre facilitates more than 10,000 farmer families of the area to sell their produce.
It has been confirmed through tests that cancer-causing poisonous chemicals were not found in 109 coconut oil samples being sold in the market. The Consumer Affairs Authority has commenced a special investigation on the controversial situation that has arisen over the imported coconut oil. Investigations have been directed on coconut oil samples obtained covering 25 districts in the island. State Minister Lasantha Aligawanna said that it has been confirmed that the poisonous chemical aflatoxin was not included in the 109 samples received today. The State Minister said that they have been informed that the harmful toxic substance was not present in the 109 samples. The reports have confirmed that the coconut oil available in the market does not contain any material harmful to the human body. According to a Gazette notification of the Ministry of Health, inclusion of more than 30 units per 1 billion units is not appropriate for consumption.
Now, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has sent a special message to Sultan of Oman, Haitham bin Tarak. The Omanese media says that the aim was to enhance cooperation between the two countries. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral arrived in the state of Oman as a special emissary of the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Prime Minister's message was handed over to the Deputy Prime Minister of Oman, Said Asad bin Tarak. Preliminary attention has been focused at the talks to further strengthen bilateral cooperation.
And the good bilateral relations between the two friendly countries were reviewed and ways to support and develop them in various fields. The meeting was attended by Their Excellencies, the Secretary General and the two advisors.
The government of India says that it continues to act in close collaboration with Sri Lanka, providing the vaccines to eliminate the COVID-19 disease. The Office of the Indian High Commissioner in Colombo says that 1.2 million doses of the vaccine have already been provided to Sri Lanka. A spokesman at the Indian High Commissioner's office in Colombo, clarifying on the current situation with regard to the supply of the corona vaccine to Sri Lanka, said that the vaccine stocks have been provided in January, February and March of this year. India is the world's largest vaccine producer. The spokesman added that although they are confronted with challenges in the supply and demand, the process of supplying the vaccine to countries including Sri Lanka is being carried out appropriately.
Now, the pink-coloured rubbersia plant sceneries are a common feature in the upcountry these days. The purple flowers on the grass create an enchanting natural beauty. Here are some of its attractive features. Rubbersia is not an inherent plant species. It was introduced to the island from several South American countries, including Colombia, Costa Rica and Mexico. The plant, with 8 centimeters in height, has a lifespan of nearly 50 years.
State Minister Janaka Wakkumara says that steps will be taken to provide relief to the consumer by reducing the prices of several other spices in the near future through the intervention of the State Ministry of Minor Plantation Crop Development. Presently, a program is underway to purchase a kilo of pepper from the farmers at a price of 800 rupees. The State Minister made these remarks at a media briefing in Colombo today. Well, prior to the government mediation, the middleman had purchased a kilo of pepper from the farmers at a price between 300 and 400 rupees. The government has commenced a program to purchase a kilo of pepper for 800 rupees by taking into consideration the plight of the pepper farmers in many parts of the island. Accordingly, larger quantities of pepper have already been purchased from areas such as Mimure, Ambalipitia and Kolonna. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that for the first time in the history, there is a price stability in the pepper crop. The government purchases 1 kilo of pepper for 800 rupees from the farmers. He also said that the genuine farmers purify and packet their produce and hand them over to the Satusa centers. The Satusa Q shops sell powdered or solid pepper at the reduced price of 160 rupees.
Sundara Nuarelia Salalihini Vasante will be held until the 30th of this month. It has been organized by the Nuarelia Municipal Council with the media sponsorship of Rupavahini Corporation. The flower exhibition attracts the attention of most people during the SLT Mobitel Sundara Nuarelia Salalihini Vasante. A public announcing system introduced by the national television will brighten the Sundara Nuarelia Salalihini Vasante program from today. The program is intended to enlighten the general public on the COVID-19 pandemic with health guidelines as well as on traffic congestion.
Well, the 5th annual general meeting of SRIDAF, the German Teachers Network of Sri Lanka, was successfully held from the 4th to the 6th of April at the Grand Hotel, Nuarelia, with the participation of 95 German language teaching professionals from all over the island. The conference consisted of different online and physical workshops under the theme, The New Method of Teaching German Language and Digitalization. The workshops were conducted by resource persons from Germany, Sri Lanka, India and Iran. Deputy Director, English and Foreign Languages of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Sanath Jailat, and the country representative of the German Academic Exchange Service, Mr. Nadish Palyaguru, also took part in the event organized by the Director and Language Department team of the German Cultural Institute in Sri Lanka.
The Goethe Institute is the German Cultural Institute in Sri Lanka. We are supporting collaboration between Sri Lanka and Germany in the fields of culture and education, especially German language teaching. So what are we offering besides our own language courses is we are training teachers of German language all over the country in schools, colleges and universities. We have a lot of programs for schools. And we do cultural programs like concerts, performances, theater, arts exhibitions, and many more.
Now, there is an extremely close relationship between the late Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, and Sri Lanka. The life of the prince was closely intermingled with Sri Lanka even before his marriage to the Queen.
Prince Philip had arrived in Sri Lanka for the first time on the 2nd of February 1940 as an 18-year-old naval officer. During the most intense period of the Second World War, he was sent as a naval officer attached to the battleship HMS Remlis, anchored at the Colombo harbour. The prince had served in the ship for a period of 4 months. In the year 1945, he had once again arrived in Sri Lanka. The task entrusted upon him on this occasion was to direct British sailors engaged in surveying at the Trincomalee harbour. During this period, the prince was continuously travelling between Colombo and Trincomalee in an Austin A-type motor vehicle he had purchased in Sri Lanka. This was the first motor car he had bought from his salary. This vehicle is being kept safely at the Colombo Golf Face Hotel even today.
This is a car in the Golf Face Hotel Museum, but that's not the car. Prince Philip was in the Royal Navy, and he was stationed in Sri Lanka in 1940, where he brought his first car to Sri Lanka. It's a model 1935, Standard 9. He has returned to Sri Lanka in 1952 as a Duke Edinburgh. Now, present owner of this car is Mr. Sanjeev Gardner of the Golf West Hotel chairman, who inherited it from his father, the late Hill Gardiner. Sanjeev Gardner has placed this car in the museum at the Regency of the Golf West Hotel.
Prince Philip's third visit to Sri Lanka had taken place in the year 1954. On this occasion, he had appeared as a royal guest and also as the spouse of Queen Elizabeth II. However, the prince had displayed his simplicity during this visit. The reports point out how he had driven himself in a Humber Hawk-type motor car to a tea estate in Nuwara. The tour had taken place exactly on a day like today, on the 10th of April, 1954. The royal couple had spent 11 days in the island and left the island on the 21st of April, on the 28th birthday of Her Royal Highness. The final royal tour of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth II had taken place on the 22nd of October 1981. They were travelling in the island as heads of the Commonwealth. Sri Lanka extended the highest respect and hospitality to the royal couple. Unconfirmed reports say the final rites of late Prince Philip is scheduled to take place on Saturday, the 17th of this month. A 41-gun salute had taken place in honour of the late prince at the Strait of Gibraltar, where Prince Philip had constantly travelled as a sailor. The gun salute took place in Australia as well. Queen Elizabeth II has informed with great sadness the passing away of her beloved husband. The British nationals were seen placing floral tributes in front of the Windsor Castle, while the death of the British prince had taken place. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had sent a message of condolence on the demise of Prince Philip to Queen Elizabeth II. The President, in his message, has recalled the fond memories of the late Duke of Edinburgh's short visit to Sri Lanka during the Second World War period, and later on as a royal guest of honour. The President has extended the profound grievances of himself and the people of Sri Lanka to the royal family and the people of the United Kingdom in this hour of grief.
Welcome back, and we're now heading into the sports news. How about a run with your family every Saturday morning? Well, Minister Namal Rajapaksa participated in the inauguration of the Family Run Saturday program organized by the Ministry of Sports to create an active society of people. The program got underway at the racecourse in Colombo at 6 o'clock this morning. The march commenced from the Torrington Square and proceeded through Bauddha Lokamawata, Vidya Mawata and returned to the venue. The program will commence every Saturday 6 a.m. Football Friday, Cycling Sunday and Volunteer Saturday are three programs being conducted under the guidance of the Ministry of Sports. Minister Namal Rajapaksa said that Sri Lanka had a history of an extremely active population. However, the modern trends, this active status has lessened. The family should get together and create an active lifestyle. The minister has invited the families to come over to the racecourse on Saturday mornings to participate in the programs. He added that the maiden program was highly successful. And with that, it's time to end the news. Do enjoy the rest of the programs. Take care and good night.
Good night.